I'm going to open this video by saying if you skip this part, then you're going to miss the entire premise of the video. So don't skip. In fact, watch all of it because it's all relevant. So today I'm a heath common land, and it's got nothing whatsoever to do with the topic that I want to discuss. I'm just here. I've not been here before. I've had a nice chat with Pete. Shout out to Pete. Thanks for the chat. I really enjoyed it. And he showed me around this area a little bit. You can see some lovely birches over there. Get some gorgeous light. But what I want to talk about is how, as humans these days, we are forgetting things. So there's a little bit of kind of psychological kind of psyche type stuff in the video, and how we can apply this to everyday lives, and obviously very particularly photography, to improve. But one of the things that we all want these days is instant. It's an instant society. It's a throwaway society. But the instantaneousness of things, we have forgotten how to wait for things. You know, credit cards means we can go out and buy something now, worry about it later, and boy, do you have to worry about it sometimes. But this kind of instant mentality gives rise to a number of problems. And some of those problems are YouTube channels like mine. How many times have you seen thumbnails that say, get good fast? Or things like that. And you know what? It doesn't happen that way. It just doesn't. You know, if we could all get good at something quickly, we'd all be great. There'd be no need for me to talk to this camera at this point, telling you how you might be able to improve your photography, because you could do it and tell me how to do it. And who am I to tell you anyway? It's there's a craziness about the way in which we tend to live our lives today, and we can't apply it to everything. Some things you can throw money at, and you can get something quickly. Other things you have to learn. The learning process is one that takes time, and it takes a great deal of practice. Photography is absolutely no different. But one of the big problems that we do find with photography is that, kind of unlike learning to play music, for instance, where it's pretty instantly obvious that you've hit a bum note, it's not instantly obvious to a beginner photographer, an amateur photographer, a learning photographer, an intermediate. It's not immediately obvious to any of us, and I must stress this, to any of us, that we've taken a bum shot. It just isn't. It doesn't happen quite like that. Often we don't realise it's a bum shot until we get it back to the computer, we get it on a bigger screen, and we can see that it just doesn't work. There are many videos where I've spoken about how this thing here lies to you. You probably can't see the shot on there. I haven't really lined it up. I have taken a couple of shots of this tree and these birches over here already, and I'll put them up in a moment. Well, I will if they're any good. If they're a pile of crap, you might not see them. And believe me, a lot of what I shoot is a pile of crap. A lot of what we all shoot is a pile of crap. Doesn't always apply to studio work and such, because you're paid for it. But in a landscape where you can't move the tree, you've got to work with the tree and position the camera. And you could get it wrong. Your idea may not work. And the tiny screen here makes that sometimes really difficult to see. And going back to this analogy of the music and the photography, you hear the bum note, you know you've made a mistake, and it's instantaneous. And actually at that point, where I'm going with this is that you know, because these have detected it, that you've got it wrong, and you can go ahead and practice and get it right. When you've got the delay of getting this back to the computer and getting it up big and then realizing that it doesn't work, you've then got to actually work out why it doesn't work, because there's so many elements in these shots that cause it to work or not to work, and getting the elements in the right place is so much harder than getting the elements in the wrong place. And the crucial thing is, unless you can critically analyze the image, it's really hard to know what's wrong with it. And this is where the learning comes in. It's so difficult. Often we will just look at an image and say, oh, that doesn't work, and scroll on. And look, this is how social media works, of course. It's when you don't get the likes or where you do get the likes. It's really nuanced, isn't it? Because, just me being in this position here or there could make all of the difference, particularly when I'm shooting things that are relatively complicated, like the trees here, because the exact position of one trunk to another, one branch to another even, can make or break a shot. But being able to critically analyse that yourself without any further outside input is difficult, almost impossible. And it's one of the reasons that learning photography, and particularly landscape and woodland photography, which are really hard genres, not to say there are some really easy ones, but it's difficult. Then without that input from somebody else with a critical eye, not a critique, should we say, eye, then it can be just mind-blowingly hard. Anyway, one shot there. Maybe more, I don't know. If you like it, let me know down in the comments. And don't forget, click the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Being able to critique your own work is not easy. I'm going to not pretend it's easy. It's a skill that you have to learn, and some of us learn it easier than others. I mean, we all learn things at different rates in any case. Some people find driving easier than others, reading, all of these things. You can have millions of examples. Of course, understanding how two-dimensional images work is absolutely vital to getting an improvement in your work. It can't be understated that understanding the basics of how people see things is really important. And of course, we all see things and interpret things in different ways. But if we look at the scene here, which is a little bit overexposed on the video, I know I might hopefully pull that down in post-production. But one of the things that we need to understand is that bright things pull the eye. So if we're looking at this scene here, and I'm not saying it's a great scene, but our eye is not going to be pulled to the dark trees, it's going to be pulled to the light trees. It's contrast. We need to use those things to our advantage. And it's not just black and white brightness, luminosity contrast, it's colour contrast as well. So it's being able in the field as much as anything else, or the wood, to critically turn around and say, well, that's a nice looking shot or a nice looking view, but is it a good shot? Because the 2D to 3D conversion doesn't always work. And immediately, unless you treat this here incredibly differently with exposure and such, and really expose or underexpose the shadows, you're not going to get nothing. It's just going to be a complete mush of confusion. So it's understanding how to create a degree of separation. We can create that with exposure. We can create it with focus separation, depth of field, or we can just look at things in a much more kind of close-up way. Just this bark here is really very interesting. We've got some lovely colours in it. It's peeling in places. It's really, really nice. And you think, actually, I can get a really intimate close-up shot of that just as an abstract and such. And you might turn around and say, well, that's not landscape. Of course it's landscape. It's here, look. It's look, landscape. Did that make you sick? I'm sorry. But of course it's landscape. It's intimate landscape. And diversifying between big wide open shots or maybe close up to a tree to a really good close up of a tree. It's all valid and it's all really important stuff. Just get out there and diversify. There's absolutely no shortcut to practice. We can't learn things just by watching these videos. We can't just grab a book and all of a sudden become a great photographer. It's one of those things that you have to just get out and do. And I'm sorry if that's come as a shock to anybody. It shouldn't do, really, is it? I mean, let's face it, if anything's worth doing, you've got to work at it. There's nothing wrong with that either. I can't emphasise enough how absolutely fine that really should be for anybody. Because, hey, look around. This is a wonderful place to come and visit. The sheer well-being of getting out, even on a relatively cold day like today, it's immeasurable. If you're if you're suffering from being stuck at home, just get out with the camera, even if it's the phone in your pocket, and look for things to take photos of. I can't emphasize enough how good it is for me to get out. I do like coming out at times when I'm not on my own. It's good to buddy up with people, and often I've got Nikki to come out with at weekends and such, but rarely at other times I do. If anyone's local and would like to come and do some shooting, then please do get in touch, because I need a little human contact, and we all do. But if we don't have the human contact, but we still have the opportunity of coming out to a place like this, don't give up that opportunity, because it's absolutely vital for our own peace of mind. It gets us out in nature. It's the one thing that as modern humans we tend to miss these days. We're all on our bloody phones. It's bad for us to be indoors all the time, just plugging away to the Facebook and Instagram gods. Just go out and shoot. It's vital for our well-being. Who can turn around and say that being in a place like this, just out with your camera, taking in the everything, is just really worth doing. I think it's particularly easy to forget that there are two sides of photography. There's the technical aspect, and then there's the creative aspect. The technical aspect is, for the most part, relatively simple, but people get bogged down on it. Understanding that a wide aperture gives you a shallow depth of field, and a big or small aperture gives you a greater depth of field is great. Absolutely vital stuff. But don't get fixated on it. And when I say fixated on it, one of the problems with showing photography on social media and YouTube and Instagram and all these things is, for people that are trying to understand and learn photography, one of the common questions is, that's a wonderful photo. What settings did you use? As though it makes any difference. It absolutely doesn't. It singles you out as not understanding what's going on, because yeah, the settings that I might use to shoot this nondescript scene here would vary from the settings that anybody else may use for it, and the changes in the results may be negligible. It's absolutely a nonsense to get this idea that the settings matter. Yeah, to a degree they do, but they only matter to that shot that you're looking at. If you're asking the question, what settings did you use in some kind of method of trying to replicate the image, forget it. It just won't work. It's a nonsense piece of information to you, because the settings for that shot are pertinent only to that shot. Patience is vital. It's one of the attributes that I don't have a great deal of, and you absolutely have got to have patience with landscape photography, because you can't make things happen. For instance, this shot here, I've got a nice position on this tree over here. You can see it's getting some gorgeous side lights. 20 minutes ago the sun wasn't out, there was no light. Yeah, in actual fact, I mean, you can see where I'm standing. You know, there's not a great deal of light here, whereas over the back here there's a lovely amount of light, which is what the camera is exposing for, the video camera I should say. So there is some definition in the sky. You can see it in the video camera, but when we're trying to get an exposure that really captures the tree and everything else, then that blows that definition out. So you can see I've put a graduated filter on here. You don't see them being used an awful lot on by YouTube photographers. I think they're invaluable things. They're a faff for sure, and yes, we can mimic this effect in post-production. We could possibly even improve the effect in post-production, but a lot of the time it's about the process, isn't it? It's about enjoying what you're doing while you're out. And another one of those kind of mindful things, it's we're out for the day, the afternoon, whatever. We're out to get a photograph. We're out to enjoy ourselves. The one thing we do not want to be out here is miserable, because that's probably one of the reasons we went out in the first place. And the light is everything, isn't it? As I was saying earlier, that I'm careful where I'm walking here. I'm trying to walk into the scene to describe this shot a little better. This is a lovely tree. It's still green on the south side, which is quite amazing. I mean, this is January. I don't know what the tree is, but you can probably see around me. There's little else that's green. Most of the stuff is brown. That box there is green, and that tree, and the side light is, it's sublime. It's lovely. It's absolutely gorgeous, and the sun's catching the top of these reeds here as well. In my head right now, it's a nice shot. Am I going to completely muff it up? I don't know. I've also got a polarizer on here, because we are approximately 90 degrees to the sun, so it's going to have its maximum effect here. And as I twist it around, you can see it's having some effect, not so much on the sky, although it's just pulling it in ever so gently. It's having a bit of effect, but it's having quite an effect on the colour saturation and also the area in the kind of mid-ground just below the tree. And what I particularly like about the shot is just the subtleness of it. There's a real kind of just, it's just, it's feathery. Yeah, it's kind of speaking to me. I hope it speaks to you. This is the longest time that the sun's been out here. There's been quite a lot of grey cloud, but it really has brightened up a lot, and it makes things so much more interesting in more kind of intimate settings like this. Not that we're getting close, although I mean, actually, you're not getting close at all. I suppose I'm about 100 foot from the tree, and I'm at 40mm on the lens, so I'm at its widest point. So we're not close. Oh, incidentally, that's an 80mm equivalent, because this is micro four thirds. But the point remains that, you know, I'm in a very shaded spot here, looking through at something that's catching the light. It's practice that's got me understanding how that kind of thing works, and you've got to get out there and practice. There's absolutely, I've said it earlier, there's no substitute for practice. You've just got to get out there. the videos, these videos, and all of those that you might watch from Henry Turn, Nigel Danson, and that other fella, Tom Heaton. They're great to give you inspiration, some ideas, show you the potential of places, and just kind of give you that lift. And none of them are telling you what to do, and that's really what I'm at here. It's just giving you ideas, and it's reinforcing the point that you won't get better unless you get out and do it. I said earlier about understanding there's a difference between the technicalities of photography and the artistry of photography, the art of composition, the art of knowing where in a big view there might be a shot. All of these things, how to compose, how to put things where it matters, because I kind of said that the technicalities kind of don't matter. Well, of course they matter. It's a mistake to say they don't. But the point being that you can learn the technicalities from a book. You absolutely can. You can learn the technicalities from all kinds of other methods. But what's crucial is that you learn how your camera works, how to operate your camera, and do it almost using muscle memory, because there are times where you absolutely need to work at speed. So if you take the shot that I've got here, really low down, had to work really quickly, couldn't film myself shooting a shot because the sun is going down, and as I walked over the hill here, and you can still see it's picking up quite a lot of light there, but we're in the dip. The sun was, and it's still just about catching them, but not very much. It's getting this clump of grasses here and that one over there, and they just fluoresced against the dark background because the sun was really, it was in the right position, it was the right kind of wavelength. I don't know the physics behind it, but it's like those grasses yelled, "Shoot me." And I got over here as quickly as I could, and I got some shots. And I'm working with a very, very wide aperture, so I blur a great deal of this because I'm working with the contrast. I'm working with the bright colour of it. And if any of these shots have come out, I'll show you them to them. They're not looking at you. I'll show you them in a minute. The point of emphasis is, if I didn't know how to use the camera quickly, I probably would have missed the shot. People often say, "I wish I had your eye." I say this all the time. People say it to me a lot. It makes me feel warm inside. It makes me feel like I'm achieving something, which is good. It's good. I still can't explain it. I might be able to if you come out on the workshop with me. That's not saying I can. It's saying that if you're with me, then you'll probably understand the thought processes, how I spot things more. So you can see over here the camera is by these little reeds, grasses and such. Again, this is just colour contrast. I walked down the path and I saw these and I thought, there's something there. They're really not catching the light any longer, but they don't actually have to, because they are so vibrant in themselves. The tops are lovely little wispy yellow and or yellowy creamy colour, and the stems are kind of golden, rising to a beautiful, beautiful red. They're stunning. And there's this one here in particular that's really different from the rest of them. It's quite isolated down here. It's just that little bit brighter. It was really just yelling. It was literally, it was yelling in a visual sense to say, come and shoot me. This is how I see things. I spot the, particularly in situations like this, I spot the contrast, and whether I've got glasses on or not, hooray, because I'd be bloody knackered if it only worked one way, because they're on and off all the time. I really do need new ones. In actual fact, so much so that I actually lost one of the lenses from the set earlier on. Thankfully it was in my pocket, but I'm walking around with only half corrected vision. I'm thinking, what the hell's gone wrong with my eyes? I digress. I've done a number of different kind of angles and such on this. I'm not sure this top-down one works quite so well, because what really does work very well is the colour from the stems. That's really what's working. And yeah, from this angle, we're still getting it, but perhaps not as much. I will select one and put it up. I might show you all of them. I really don't know. If you'd like to see more of the Norfolk countryside, don't forget that I can offer one-to-one workshops. Residential here, I have holiday cottages around the coastline, and yeah, available at pretty reasonable prices. And yeah, you can come for a weekend or midweek, do it a little cheaper in midweek, and yeah, we can have a day or 2 or 3 together, and we can work something out, and we can take you to some of the really special places around here. Contact details are down below. If anything in the video has resonated with you, please do click the like button. Click on the subscribe button if you'd like to see more. If you haven't already, of course. I mean, you might already be a subscriber. You may be one of the 2,500 or so that are now watching me regularly. It looks like I'm carrying something really strange here, doesn't it? Anyway, I thank you for your time. Please leave a comment down below, and we will see you next week. And in the meantime, if you want to see some other videos and give some ideas on things that you can practice and a bit of inspiration and such, check out these. You see, I can't point because I can, look, I've got it under my chin. Some videos here. Take care.